Today, I'm going to show you how to make this out of one simple license plate. So let's get started. First, we're going to get out all the pieces we need. We're going to need a block of wood for the base, one license plate of course, some paper to start our template with, some scissors, and some assorted metal shears. Since I don't have a piece of paper big enough for the license plate, I'm going to have to put two of them together. Just slide two of them together, take a piece of tape, just apply it along the seam, and that'll give us a solid base to start with. Tracing the license plate so we know exactly what area we have to work with. Now that we have this, we can take a pencil and kind of draw out the segments. In this one, I actually made him out of 3 pieces, plus the head is all one piece, the feet are 2 separate pieces, and the tail is a separate piece. So let's start by drawing the body pieces. I continue to draw out the shapes, just kind of estimating where I need it to be until I make it fit. Let me get finished drawing this, and then we'll get him cut out. Once I get it drawn in pencil, then I'm going to go back over it with a Sharpie just to darken up the lines so it makes it easier to follow when I cut. Be sure and label your pieces so you know once you cut them out where they go on the license plate. And in this extra area I have, I'll cut from the tail from the pieces that are left. So let's cut this out and then we'll transfer it to the license plate. You also don't have to be too careful cutting these out because none of them are going to be exact fits. So you kind of make it and you may end up trimming these pieces later once we start putting it together. So this is just to give us a rough shape and a rough idea of how it's going to work. We leave this little tab on the head because that's what's going to attach to the body. Now that we have the pieces cut, we can take our plate, we're going to lay it on its back. And what we need to decide is which side the head's going to be on. And for this one, I think I'm going to put the head over here. Trace around them with a Sharpie so we can make this thing work. Now that we've got everything drawn and transferred, let me show you how I did the mock-up process. I take the block of wood that's going to be the base, and I'd start with these pieces and kind of shape them how you want. So I'd start like this, kind of shape it into place, and just take some tape so you can actually apply it and just kind of, this way it allows you to take it apart and move it and get it back to where you want it to be to get the shape you need. So we'll just start by applying a little bit of tape to the end where it's going to meet the block, and kind of place these on here roughly to give me an idea of kind of what I'm looking to do. And this is where you can make adjustments to your form if you think it's going to need to be trimmed or adjusted in size in some shape or form. You can adjust it. But you can see how it goes together pretty quickly as a mock-up, and it's going to show you how the finished piece is going to go. This is a lot easier to bend than it is to bend the metal, so this is a much quicker process. Now we're going to cut the license plate out. As we start, we're just going to use some tin snips and shears and roughly cut out the shapes. Be careful cutting these because these edges are going to be sharp. I'll show you how we'll just sand them down a little bit to smooth them out after we get done. But I normally start with a couple of different shears, whichever makes it easier for me to cut, depending on which direction you're going.
Now that we have everything cut out, let's sand it and make the edges smooth so it's not so sharp.
Let's go ahead and I'm going to show you how to punch the piece for the head and then we're going to start forming the piece into shape. Let's move everything out of the way. And on the head, what we need to do is we need to make the slit right here. We drew it on the back, but we want to make sure we punch from the front so it bends at the right direction. So what I did is I sharpened an old screwdriver, and it's now more like a punch than it is a screwdriver. So we're going to line it up with where we want to cut. Take a hammer. We're going to make sure we move over and cut both sides. A piece of pipe here, kind of start bending it around. It makes it a little easier. You can use a vise or something, but what works best is to kind of visualize the center of the piece and then start putting a little pressure on both sides of it. The hardest part is the numbers are a little bit stiff, so you may have to hit those with something just to kind of get them to start bending. Now that we got all our pieces bent, we're going to take them and mark where we need to drill holes so we can attach them to our block of wood. I'm just going to use a Sharpie, make a dot, which I've already got on most of these. So this is where I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it to the drill press and drill some holes in it. You can use anything. You can use a handheld drill. It's just that I have a drill press set up so it's easier for me to use. So I'll be back when I get this done. Now that we got all our holes drilled, let's do some final assembly. Got my block. We'll start with the back piece, figure out how far back it needs to go. Then we're going to put it on with some tacks. You could use screws on this, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to hold a lot, but like this one, since my fingers are a little fat, I'm probably going to set this in here and get it positioned kind of where I'm happy with it. Then I'm going to place the first tack in here and hammer it in. This was a simple project. Turned out really nice. Only used one license plate and some very simple tools. I'll link a copy of the template I used in the description below. If you'd like to see me make more of this type of project, please like and subscribe.